Greetings, fellow gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about an independent horror movie called The Djinn, which was just released on various streaming platforms this year. And Jack and I were interested in watching it, so we decided to sit down and watch it. And I'd say we were pretty surprised.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah. It's it reminded me a lot of movies like The Gate.
Yes.
And but be warned, it's actually R-rated.
Oh, yeah. It even though it has the same kind of vibes as movies like The Gate, where you have kids dealing with supernatural creatures alone at home, which is kind of the same vibe The Gate has.
Yeah, exactly.
It does go further with some of the horror at times.
Yeah. It gets kind of gory, and it gets... Yeah, they jump scare you pretty good a couple of shots.
Also, thematically, it gets really dark and intense.
It does.
At times. The basic idea of this movie is you have this mute kid in the 80s, and so he's stuck at home, so he doesn't have a cell phone, he doesn't have the internet, he doesn't have anything like that, he just has an old TV, and it's a home that they just moved into, too, so he's, like, moving stuff from boxes out, and so not everything is there. And he has discovered this Book of Shadows, that was left by the previous owner of the place. And in the Book of Shadows, there is a ritual to summon a djinn and make a wish. So he decides to make a wish about wanting his voice back. And this leads to him having to deal with a djinn showing up, a shape-shifting djinn that shows up in various forms, and he has to defeat him before the night's over. And that's the plot of the movie.
Yep.
And it's a very intense movie at times.
Yeah, he specifically has to live for an hour.
Yes,
and then blow a candle out.
Yep, 100%. It is also like a masterclass in just pure suspense.
Yeah,
like there's so many scenes that reminded me of like Spielberg movies, like in terms of like the way they were handling the suspense. You know, it's like we're gonna have a shot of this. Oh wait, a shot of this over here, and we're gonna slowly. Wait, cut over here, and it's
yeah. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't really. A Spielberg movie will often let you off the hook. You know. Oh, this movie really doesn't.
No. This movie does not. Yeah. When we get to the spoilers, we'll talk about the ending, in which it really does not.
Yeah.
But it goes into some dark shit, because you have this kid who's dealing with the fact that he's mute, which is already a rough thing for a kid, especially since we basically find out over the story that he didn't start off mute. It kind of happened over time for reasons. And also he's dealing with the fact that part of the reason why they moved is because his mom's dead, which we'll go into spoilers about how that happens. But his mom's dead, and so he's kind of dealing with that, and also dealing with his dad's obviously overcompensating for the fact that the mom's gone, and the kid he just wants to be able to use his own voice, as well as other things, and it gets pretty dark, especially for a movie that feels like a kid's horror movie, but then goes to like adult horror movie levels.
Yeah, it turns into an adult horror movie by the end of it.
And like, man, like I would love to say that you should watch this with your kids, but you should gauge whether or not you think your kids could handle this first, because it's because it's pretty fucking intense, especially
if they couldn't handle the Babadook, I don't think they're going to be able to handle this.
Yeah, that's probably, and the Babadook isn't even gory like this one is.
Yeah,
you know, so. But yeah, Babadook is actually a great comparison. In terms,
it's all like in one house.
The familial trauma from the Babadook. There's definitely a lot of that.
Oh, there is. Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
Which makes it really fucking intense, especially if you've experienced any type of trauma like the trauma this kid and his dad has gone through. It's gonna hit you hard.
Yeah. One of the most fun things about the movie is the Djinn is an asshole.
Oh my god, I love that thing.
It's an asshole.
So the Djinn has this one interesting caveat. The Djinn can take the form of a human, but only a human who is already dead. Mm-hmm. So, over the course of the movie, it takes the form of various dead humans that it sees around the apartment. Like, for example, there's a TV program that is airing at one point that talks about this dead
He's like a dead serial killer.
Yeah. And he takes the form of that at one point, really early on in the movie. And then over the course of the movie, he starts taking the forms of things that, hurt the kid a little bit more.
Yeah. He also takes the form of the former apartment owner.
Yeah, the former apartment owner, which it is pretty heavily implied died because of the Djinn.
Yeah, it's very heavily implied the Djinn killed him. Yeah.
And the Djinn just fucks with this kid the entire time. Like, early on, the Djinn acts like it's like a mindless monster that the kid can completely outsmart, but then the Djinn starts proving over the course of the movie that it's not a mindless monster. It actually does have little traps and things it plays.
Yeah, it actually escalates. It's sort of like, oh, it's a kid. Okay, I can just grab it. Oh, that's not gonna work?
Yeah.
All right, fine. Looks like we're gonna have to put in some work here. Let's do this.
You get some super intense cat and mouse scenes. Like, there's an entire sequence that takes place inside a bathroom that reminded me of the movie Inside.
Oh yeah.
For any of you that have seen the French extreme film Inside, this movie is like that for kids at one point with the bathroom sequence.
Yeah. The movie also plays a lot with perception.
Yes.
Doing that thing where you're like, is the Djinn real or isn't it?
Oh yeah. It does do that a lot. And it's fun.
Yeah, it does that right up until the end.
And it's fun trying to figure that out too.
Yeah. It will answer that question at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah, you'll get an answer. You'll get a definitive answer. I also just like the kid actor in this movie is really fucking good.
Yeah, he's really good. It's a mute part, but he was very expressive, which is what was required.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I never had a moment where I felt like, this kid is just overacting the part or doing this. Like, he just felt natural, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, the main thing about him was be scared.
Yeah.
And that clearly was not hard.
Oh, yeah.
That clearly was not difficult.
Now, I know some people are going to be out there going like, I'm so sick of these 80s revival movies and stuff like that. And this is technically one of them. But the thing is, I actually feel like thematically, there's a reason why this movie is set in the 80s, like practically.
Oh, yeah, because like one cell phone ruins the plot.
Like the ability
to text ruins the plot.
Anything that distracts the kid from wanting to mess with that Book of Shadows, ruins
it.
You know, he needs to be as isolated as possible, and having the double conceit of it being set in the 80s, so no cell phones, no internet, and it being set in an apartment that they're moving into, is very necessary, because this means like he doesn't really have much to do. You know?
He's by himself because his dad has to work. And
I do love, though, that part of the conceit allows them to do, because in the movie you find out that his dad works the night shift, and you're like, oh, what does he do the night shift with? And you find out very quickly in the movie, so this is not a spoiler, that the dad works the night shift running a radio station, and he's playing like synth wavy fucking like
he's playing like it's technically modern music, but it's modern music that's meant to sound like 80s music.
It's definitely like modern synthwave music, but because it's the 80s, it's the new music, you know? And I liked that conceit because it allowed them to have like the 80s soundtrack and it feel like natural in the movie.
Yeah, it did. It also helped it get over its any anachronisms that were shown up.
It's also very subtle in its 80s setting. Like, this is not like I love movies like Turbo Kid or movies like even like Psycho Goreman.
Oh yeah, that just wear that right up.
That
right
wear
up
all
the
80s and 90s worship on their sleeve. This movie is a lot more subtle with it, and I kind of appreciated how they handled it.
Well, yeah, it's not a. This wasn't intended to be a big splashy. Fucking bright lights movie.
You know, he's not going to be like hanging out with some punks and everyone's going to have colored hair. It's
right,
like,
exactly. He's going to be in an apartment, and so it needs to look like a shitty fucking apartment.
What it feels like is the kind of movie that would have been made in the 80s.
It does.
Actually. Especially the Spielbergian style little kid horror movies that came after Gremlins. It feels like it would have been a movie made during that time period.
Yeah, like a direct-to-video movie or, direct-to-cable.
Or like you mentioned earlier, The Gate.
The Gate, yeah.
Something like that. So, I really enjoyed this movie. I definitely recommend it. It's currently available on various streaming platforms, but only to rent and buy. I don't think any streaming platform has it right now, just to play on this platform. So
yeah.
You're gonna have to seek it out that way. But I highly recommend you do, because this movie is totally worth a watch, especially if you're a child of the 80s or if you're a fan of movies like The Gate. I think you should definitely check it out and watch it.
Yeah. Or you like Stranger Things.
Oh, Stranger Things too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of that in there.
It's got quite a bit of that in there. Yeah.
So unless there's anything else you want to say pre-spoilers, we could probably move on to the spoilers, right?
Well, one of the things I did want to bring up is how interesting, the thing about, you mentioned how the movie looks like it was shot in the 80s, but I noticed that there was one stylistic difference. Mm-hmm. But this is because, like, it's one of those weird things that I noticed.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Which is, this even, it makes sense for the plot. The apartment is sparse.
That's true,
but usually in these situations, the apartment is, like, decorated and has like shit hanging out. Like every kid in the 80s apparently has like a Mad Max poster or some shit.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. Though I do understand why it's not in this movie, just because they're just moving in.
Yeah, well, they're just moving in, and it, one, cuts down on set dressing.
True.
And B, focuses the audience on like the one thing in the frame that they should be looking at, not realizing that the monster is going to come over from here.
Oh yeah.
You know? Like...
yeah, that makes perfect sense. Like I said, it's a really low budget movie, but it works its budget so well.
Yeah.
So fucking well. And I guess with that said, let us move on to the spoilers.
Once again, Djinn's an asshole.
Holy shit. Like, Jesus.
Man, yeah, this movie does not have a happy ending.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
You know, it's a tragic ending. It reminds me, it has an ethos that's very similar to Ju-on, which is, you're gonna find yourself going, wait, they didn't deserve that.
Oh yeah.
But like, you're right. They don't.
The thing we couldn't tell you in the pre-spoiler section, but we could totally tell you here in the spoiler section, is that this is 100% a monkey's paw situation in this movie. He has a very specific wish, but it comes with a price and a caveat, even if he survives the night with the Djinn.
Yeah.
And the worst part is, the book warned him about that.
Yeah. It's basically, you summon the Djinn, you're fucked from the get-go.
Yeah, like he reads that from the very beginning, and you hear that and you go like, oh no, what's gonna go wrong? And so half the fun of the movie is actually sitting there trying to guess, okay, if he succeeds during the night and isn't killed by the creature, what is the caveat?
Yeah, what's the catch? What's the monkey's paw?
You had like a really interesting idea that like he was gonna get one of those voice boxes or something.
Yeah, but that was like the nice version.
I had a version in my head where I thought that maybe like the Djinn was gonna grant his other wish, which was his mom coming back or something.
Yeah.
Or he was gonna grant the wish that like he was gonna have his voice, but he was gonna have to relive his mom coming back or something like that.
Yeah. Because they keep mentioning its greatest desire.
Yeah.
You know.
So the other thing we couldn't tell you in the spoiler section is that one of the spoilers about the mom is that the mom didn't just die, she killed herself in front of him.
Yeah.
She didn't know he was there, but she still did it. So he has the trauma of having witnessed his mom commit suicide, and the trauma of he feels like if he was able to have spoke and said something, that maybe he could have stopped his mom from doing it.
Yeah.
And there's even a point where he dreams the potential of doing that.
Yeah.
And you think that might be the moment of the Djinn granting like that.
Yeah, that
wish.
might be the granting of the wish.
Oh, you have
wish, but it's not.
You have your voice back, and you get to save your mom. Oh, happy ending. But then he wakes up, and then you get the real fucking shit.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, the Djinn plays these fucking like fake outs on the kid throughout the entire night. Like, he'll pretend to be dead, and then when the kid walks by, like, grab his leg.
Yeah, he's like an actor in a haunted house. He's just there to fuck with the kid.
There's a point in which the kid locks him in the closet. He manages to trick the Djinn into the closet, and then the Djinn just starts, like, I guess he transformed into a different size and started, like, crawling through the vents and shit.
Yeah, he starts crawling through the vents, so, like, the kid walks by and great,
yeah.
You know?
So you think he's got him, and then the Djinn's like, fuck you! The Djinn also, towards the end of the night, because he can take the form of anyone that is dead, as long as he's seen the person, there's a picture of the dead mom.
The dead mom, yeah.
So he takes the form of the mom as the final form to fuck with the kid, and oof.
Yeah, that's where it gets like really.
And that's like
really deep.
right after you find out that she killed herself, and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And then you spend this whole thing wondering how intelligent the Djinn is, and then the Djinn starts playing cat and mouse
because
games.
in the beginning it just sort of roars and grabs at things.
Yeah, and then it starts playing more cat and mouse games, but you're like, but there's still like the plausible deniability that was just luck.
Yeah.
But then you get to the like very end of the night, and the Djinn, having taken the form of the mom, starts talking,
yeah,
and trying to manipulate him, like, hey, you can be with me, and all that stuff, and like the kid, and like while holding a knife behind his back.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, so the Djinn is 100%. He has been fucking with the kid the entire night. Oh my god.
Yeah. And so the kid wakes up. The kid's dad comes back. Everything seems like it's roughly okay, because one of the things that is normal for this kind of movie is to have a rift between the dad and the son.
Yeah.
There's miscommunication, but there's not really a rift here.
No, like the dad's a really good dad. He's just not super capable of helping the kid through his current trauma, because how could you?
How could you? Yeah. No one. That's the kind of thing you call experts in for.
Absolutely.
You know. But just when everything looks like it's okay, the Djinn steals the dad's voice, and remember, he's a radio DJ.
Yeah, that's his bread and butter. That's his life.
Gives it to the kid all the time. The kid knows what's going on, is trying to renounce his wish, but it's too late.
It
doesn't
too late.
matter.
He made the wish, and he survived the night. Now the wish
so
is
he
gonna
gets
be granted.
the thing no matter what.
Yep.
So
the kid gets his dad's voice, and his dad loses his voice, and it ends with the kid crying over his dad, who has no idea what the fuck is going on. He's dazed on the floor as it pans out, and that's the fucking end of the movie.
Yeah, that's the end of the movie. Now, when I say the Djinn does this, it's not like, oh, some sort of series of coincidences. No. The Djinn appears and fucking digs his hands into the father's throat and pulls out glowing smoke.
Because the movie does this really cool thing throughout the rest of the early runtime, where the Djinn will take the form of a dead person, and for the most part, you'll see like body parts of that person throughout the movie. But then when there's a reflection, like a mirror or like a glass reflection on like some photographs or something like on the wall, you will see the actual form of the Djinn, which is this black, just
it's
dark,
like a black smoke monster. Yeah,
monstrosity thing.
But it's got I shouldn't have said smoke monster, because then people are going to think it looks like the thing from Lost, which it does not.
Well, not like that. No, it does take a smoky form at times.
Yeah. It's a completely ebony figure with like wisps of smoke coming off.
Yeah, we're talking Carrion black.
Yeah, and it has like yellow teeth and eyes that glow.
Oh yeah,
and it's really nice and minimal. But I was like, okay, yeah, no, that's actually.
He kind of looks like the cousin to the Babadook, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
right. Yeah.
And then you don't get a full-on look at him until the very end when he steals the dad's voice, and you get a great look at him at that point.
Yeah, because at that point, that's the monster like mugging for the camera, like.
He's also kind of got like this tall man thing going on. He's really tall and lanky, and it's really creepy.
Yeah. It was really well done.
Slender man, not tall man. It's got like a slender man.
Slender man, yeah. Except he doesn't wear a suit.
He doesn't wear a suit. He's just all dark.
Black. You know.
Oh man, he's a great monster. Like even though for most of the movie you see him as like one of the dead people he took the form of, like it's still really great. Like that part of the movie kind of reminded me a lot of like It Follows, right?
Yeah.
Where, it's constantly taking these other forms, and the other forms aren't quite there. They're clearly the monster. You know?
Yeah.
Well, like, very creepy.
Yeah, it's when you're talking about like legends of the Djinn.
Mm-hmm.
This movie actually does. I don't know about the dead person one, because every fairy tale has its own like little caveat.
Its own little twist to it.
Yeah. But the thing that is consistent about the Djinn is that they are natural shape changers, and a story involving them usually ends up with the Djinn winning.
That makes sense, yeah.
You know, the major exception being...
I mean, he kind of loses, but then he gets the last laugh,
Exactly,
right?
exactly. That's how a Djinn do.
Yeah.
You know, stories with a Djinn usually have the Djinn succeed at, you know, getting the last laugh. And it's funny because the most famous story with a Djinn, Aladdin, is the exception.
Oh yeah.
Where that shit doesn't happen.
Yeah. Aladdin's genie is the feel good genie.
Well, yeah. He's actually like the Djinn of the Lamp and the Djinn of the Ring are like, they're just dudes doing jobs. They're not malicious.
I also assumed like his more smoky form when he first enters the apartment was like an illusion, to the smoke coming out of the lamp.
Yeah, exactly. The smoke. You know, it's weird because a lot of people associate Djinns with smoke because they are supposed to be made of smokeless fire. But the thing is you always go like, but wait, if it's smokeless, why is there smoke all the time? Now that's an aspect of the Djinn that even appears in the culture of origin.
That's hilarious.
So it's a common thing to just be like, yeah, genies, lots of smoke. No, wait, why did we do that? It's supposed to be smokeless.
I guess people just ran with it like a meme.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, and it took a life of its own.
Yeah, it's like one of those things that you can't describe what it isn't. People just go, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah. Sounds about right. So, anything else you want to say about this?
Oh, I really, really liked it.
I loved it too.
The thing it is a movie all about something that is incredibly unfair.
Yes.
You know, it's a type of movie that type of ending is. It's a type of movie that really, really will appeal to people who enjoy dark twists.
Yes.
You know, because the dark twist is the kid doesn't win.
Yeah.
You know,
like he beats the Djinn over the night.
He does everything right. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Doesn't matter because at the end the Djinn can still make his wish something he wish he didn't do.
Yep. Oh, and by the way, when we're talking about this movie being like gory and gnarly, like there's like a point where the kid steps on glass. Like at one point, he actually like cuts the Djinn's tendons in the feet.
Yeah. He cuts the Achilles tendon,
and so the Djinn is crawling on the ground with like a blood trail behind him.
Yeah.
The Djinn takes like a chunk out of his arm at one point.
Yeah.
Like this kid gets fucked up.
Yeah, it's definitely. We keep mentioning the gate because it's a good place to start. It's significantly bloodier.
By the end of this movie, he looks like John McClane. You know, John at the end of Die Hard, where he's got like the bloody arm. And
this kid's just fucked up.
Yeah,
you know, and you're just like, oh man.
You know, he survived the night, but at what cost?
At what cost?
But the thing is that the Djinn automatically heals him when the night's over. So the apartment goes back to normal and he goes back fine until the twist happens. Yeah. So with all that said, where can they find you, Count Jackula?
You can find me on Twitch at @Count_Jackula, where I stream every Thursday and Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm thinking of adding a third day, but I haven't figured out the schedule yet.
Okay.
You can also follow me on Twitter at JackSatanWave, and you can follow me on Instagram at SatanicJackula. And with that, where can they find you?
Y'all know me. I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, on Facebook, on Instagram, where I've been posting selfies like crazy.
You're on the gram now.
Yeah. I've been posting selfies. I've been posting random shit I'm eating because I'm a fucking loser, and I've been posting pictures of Gomez. Those are kind of like the three main things.
Pictures of my goddamn cat, dude.
Yep.
Because someone likes to be in the same room with you. Yep. And he'll just do asshole cat shit.
Yep, and if I catch it, I'll snap a picture of it and put it online because you know what? Fuck it. Someone's got profit off this.
Yeah, someone's got profit off this fucking menace, yes.
And also just picture of random shit that I get, you know, like the Benny doll.
All right, I knew it was back there, but I didn't notice that it was upside down.
Perfect. We got him. We got him, boys. If you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way. And if you made it this far into the video, then put
Hashtag DJ Djinn, DJINN, Gin and Juice.
Gin and Juice? Okay. Hashtag Gin and Juice. I will put it right here so you can read it and type it out as you will. Put that somewhere in your comment below, and be sure to comment below. Speaking of which, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And, do I have anything else after that?
Hey, we got the Patreon!
We got a Patreon! I already said that, so...
Okay. All right, well then, I guess... Yeah, sorry, I'm a little under the weather, so like, your brain ain't working.
We went out and we got those Burger King Chick King sandwiches.
Also known as the gay chicken sandwich.
Yeah, the one because if you buy their chicken sandwich, a portion of it actually goes to, which organization was it?
I forget which LGBT.
It's a pro-LGBT organization.
But it's a pro-LGBT organization. Yeah, all the profits from the sandwich go to an LGBT organization.
A portion of the
profits.
Profits, yeah.
Only a portion.
Yeah.
Because Burger King decided to fucking take a smack at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, and we were like, well, we gotta get in on that.
We gotta get in on that, yeah.
So the problem is that we got two different sandwiches. I got the plain one, and he got the one.
I got the spicy one.
And the spicy one has done a number on his organs right now.
Yeah. It's like I don't know what it is, because it wasn't that. It's like, oh, this is not that hot. This should be fine.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't. It's like whatever fucking specific oil is part of that spicy thing, it just wrecked me.
So unless you end up having a reaction like him, I actually recommend those sandwiches. They're actually pretty good.
Well, I mean, they were tasty.
Yeah.
Going down, it was fine.
Yeah,
you know?
It's the coming out again.
Coming out again, that was an issue.
And now that we're talking about bowel movements, it is time for us to end this vlog. Peace out, my fellow gorehounds, and I'll catch y'all later.